What do you think all of the following have in common? Spiders, snakes, flying, dentists, and failure. These are all common things that people are afraid of. Fear of failure is one of the biggest fears among people, and that fear holds people back from taking risks and trying something new. Did you ever take a risk regardless of whether you were afraid to fail? The importance of trying something new comes with many benefits, the biggest one being all the life lessons you learn along the way. I'm Julia Burton, I'm in 10th grade, and my focus tonight will be on trying something new and taking a risk. It's natural for us to stay with your routine and not take risks. It's also common to do things that are familiar and comfortable because there's no risk involved in doing that. There's nothing wrong with living this way. It's easy to stay in our routine. However, if we don't take risks or try something new, then we may end up missing out on experiences and interests that could benefit us for a lifetime. Without branching out, we limit ourselves and potentially prevent us from discovering who we are and being the best that we can be. Trying something new and taking a risk involves confidence, inner strength, and courage. Whether you're young or whether you're older, trying something new can be difficult. But if there's one thing that knows no age, it's learning, which is a benefit that comes with trying something new. Let me tell you a little story. When I was just 11 years old, I took a major risk and tried something very new. I was only in 6th grade when I first tried out for the Kids Baking Championship on the Food Network. Trying out for a reality competition TV show was a lot to go through at such a young age. I had to learn a ton of new skills, and I had to work very hard to get to the place that I got to. Was there a risk of failure? Of course there was. But did I let that stop me? It all started during spring break 2018. I told my mom I wanted to try out for the Kids Baking Championship, and she responded with, "That's great, Jewel, but you need to learn how to bake first." I was determined to accomplish my goal, so I learned how to bake mostly all by myself, but with a little help from my mom. I learned some new skills for about a month, and then I decided to submit my written and video application for the show. Because the casting agents liked my application, they decided to interview me a few months later. That's the first time I ever participated in an interview. It's funny because whenever I tell my story about the Kids Baking Championship, I always make it like this first interview was no big deal. But looking back, this was another major new thing that I was experiencing. Again, I was only 11 years old, but I relied on my determination. I didn't end up making it past that first interview. This outcome upset me, but I learned from it as it taught me how to handle disappointment and be strong, and I didn't let it stop me from chasing my dream of getting onto the Kids Baking Championship. I kept practicing and learning new recipes and techniques, and then I decided to reapply in January 2019. I did not allow myself to get affected by a fear of failure because of what happened last time. This next experience started out a lot like the first. I got called for an interview, and then I had to make a 10-minute video describing my personality, and in the video, I had to include a few clips of me baking something. I sent that video back to the casting agents, and they must have liked it because they called me for another interview. Being that I had already gone through multiple interviews previously, this next interview was fairly easy. That spring, we got a call from the casting agent who had been working with throughout the whole process, telling me the executive producers of Food Network wanted to interview me. This was by far the most challenging and nerve-wracking part of the entire process. I had to bake and decorate a cake in 2 hours and make eclairs in 2 hours as well. And that's the cake and the eclairs that I made for my audition. I then had to present these 2 baked items to the executive producers of Food Network and tell them a little bit about myself as a part of my final interview. And remember, I was only 12 years old at this point. There was so much pressure and stress riding on this one interview because this interview would be the determining factor of if I got selected to go out to California or not. I nailed it, and the executive producer selected me as one of 15 kids in the entire country to go out to California. I found out in late May. This was probably one of the most exciting moments of my entire life. The final part of my journey with the Kids Baking Championship was going out to Hollywood, California. June 10, 2019 was the day that I set out to go live my dreams as a child baking TV star. And that's me on the set of the Kids Baking Championship in Hollywood, California. The excitement was short-lived, however. I was made an alternate and did not end up making it onto the Kids Baking Championship. To say I was disappointed would be an understatement. I was so close to fulfilling my dream just for it to all go away in the blink of an eye. I was so angry and confused as to why they didn't pick me. What did all the other kids have that I didn't? What made them so special? I thought about these questions all the time until I finally learned to let go and move on. It took me a while, but eventually I moved past it. I didn't let this setback stop me from doing something that I loved. To this day, I still love to bake, and I still spend a lot of time in the kitchen. I've even started my own small baking business, and I bake for charity. I didn't let the outcome of the Kids Baking Championship stop me from trying other things that interest me. As you can see, this experience is not only about baking. It's about how the risk I took molded me to be the person that I am today. I'm definitely a more adventurous person than I was before trying out for a TV show. For example, I used to be a really shy kid. When I was little, I was even afraid to talk on the phone. Before having done numerous interviews in front of Hollywood executives and having to be in person on a set in Hollywood, I wouldn't have done a number of things that I'm doing today. This whole experience that I just discussed taught me how to adapt to new situations and work past obstacles, how to handle disappointment, and that I shouldn't let my disappointment stop me from trying other things that interest me. Because of everything I learned, I had the confidence to run for office and become the Vice President of Student Council in middle school and the President of my class in 9th grade. If it weren't for the Kids Baking Championship, I likely wouldn't be standing in front of you tonight giving this TED Talk. And now that I've taken many different risks, I have even more courage to try other things that interest me because I'm not afraid of what the outcome will be. According to Globe Newswire, 1 in 3 Americans are affected by a fear of failure, which comes out to be around 31%. And this is actually greater than the amount of people who are afraid of spiders, which is 30%. Crazy, right? And 49% of adults admitted that being afraid of failure was the greatest thing holding them back from achieving their dreams and goals. Think about that. That's almost 50%. Half of everyone. Don't let it hold you back. Think of me at age 11, and now I'm getting closer to 16 and still benefiting from trying something so foreign to me. All of you should not be afraid of failure and try the thing you always wanted to do, regardless of your age, because it's never too late to find your passion, and you never know what else you may learn along the way, or the lifelong benefits you may develop. What I'm saying tonight also applies to smaller things. For example, starting a conversation with someone you've never spoken to before, trying a new food, trying a new sport, riding a roller coaster, and taking a class that interests you are all things that can change your life.